Hello and welcome to the special report on Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Television. I am Hilda Homsem Fantwam. The Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, under the leadership of Dr. Mrs. Olutoyin Adetobaru, hosted the 58th Annual Congress, Oyo 2022, with the theme Repositioning the Veterinary Profession for National and Global Impact, under the chairmanship of Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, who applauded the committee for choosing the theme, which is in the light of the current challenges of emerging and re-emerging animal and zoonotic diseases threatening global health and food security. He also disclosed the policy of National Agricultural Technology and Innovation, which will span 2022 to 2027, which will focus on deployment of knowledge, technology, and innovations in agricultural sector to unlock the country's untapped potentials to guarantee food security. The Veterinary Council of Nigeria is a body charged with the responsibility of coordinating and overseeing the training and practice of veterinary profession in Nigeria.
Today's event, and indeed the entire 58th Annual Scientific Conference, is historic and special because this is the first time NVMA is undertaking its conference with women not only on board but also fully in charge of the Department of Veterinary and Pest Control Services of the Federal Ministry of Agri and Rural Development. We have our CBON, Dr. Mimuna Habib. In the VCN, we have Dr. Aishatu Baju, myself as the President of NVMA, and the Director of NVRI, Dr. Miriam. We women, we are not now fighting for gender sensitivity. We are fully in charge. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to fulfill one of our very important constitutional obligations as a national executive, which is the Annual Scientific Conference. This conference provides an avenue for professional interaction among members. The activities outlined for the conference include the plenary sessions where topical issues of veterinary importance are discussed, scientific sessions to present research papers and clinical case reports, business sessions and exhibitions to showcase new technologies, social and sporting events, and the annual general meeting of the association. The theme for the 58th Annual Scientific Conference is coined Repositioning the Veterinary Profession for National and Global Impact. Your Excellencies and distinguished veterinarians here present, want to reiterate that the NVMA is a body charged with the responsibility of ensuring well-being and welfare of every veterinarian in Nigeria. NVMA is the umbrella body of registered doctors, and we have state chapters in all the 36 states of the Federation and FCT, Abuja. NVMA is also a member of the Association of Professional Bodies, West African Veterinary Association, Commonwealth Veterinary Association, and the World Veterinary Association.
I commend you all for choosing the theme, Repositioning the Veterinary Profession for National and Global Impact, which is appropriate in the light of the current challenges of emerging and re-emerging animal and zoonotic diseases threatening global health and food security. I am aware this annual event is expected to bring together veterinary professionals in the field of livestock production, animal healthcare service providers, and other stakeholders from the 36 states and FCT and beyond to deliberate on the issues regarding the progress and upliftment of veterinary practice. The veterinary profession is one of the most outstanding, given its determination to be self-reliant, providing employment for thousands of its colleagues. The ministry has formulated a new agricultural policy tagged National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Policy, that is NATIP, which will span from 2022 to 2027. This policy focuses on deployment of knowledge, technology and innovation in agricultural sector to unlock the country's untapped potentials to guarantee food security. Since my deployment to the Ministry of Agriculture by His Excellency the President, I have been monitoring the progress of the veterinary profession in Nigeria. First is the role of prominent veterinarians in the fight against human and veterinary diseases, and this includes the likes of Professor Ayewole Tomari in the fight against the spread of COVID-19. The involvement of Nigerian veterinarians in the Global Veterinary Association, where they are serving as both council members and indeed president of the global world bodies such as the Commonwealth Veterinary Association and the World Veterinary Association. The maintenance of veterinary assets, especially the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, in fact, of recent, the ministry is working with the Ministry of Health and World Health Organization to improve the facility at the NVRI as a laboratory for the production of COVID-19 vaccines and equally important diseases. The growth and spread of private veterinary formations, such as veterinary clinics, veterinary hospitals, veterinary diagnostic laboratories, and veterinary pharmacy, due to the effort of private veterinarians with minimal or no intervention from government. I am equally also aware of the effort that is being made by the profession to regulate the practice at national and subnational level to ensure that quackery is eliminated. In conclusion, as you deliberate on issues of veterinary profession and emerging global diseases, global challenges in public health and food security, I urge you to bring up concrete and implementable recommendations and action points that would support our policies and guide the stakeholders to overcome the challenges militating against the growth of the profession in Nigeria.
Group Managing Director, Armor Farms, Dr. Anyola Otuntan, keynote speaker at the event, elaborated on repositioning veterinary medicine, NAFDAC, Ministry of Agriculture, through technology, biotechnology, microtechnology, animal education, research, among others. This, he said, will enhance and reunite the country for better development. He said professionalism is key, and until all hands are on deck, nothing will be achieved. Dr. Anyola Otundan said the youth need to be sponsored, encouraged, and urged to take over the industry and rewrite the story in all aspects by introducing entrepreneurship education.
Before we can reposition something, it has to be positioned. So while I'm talking about the repositioning, I will first of all mention current positions, then go straight to repositioning. What is our current position and what are we doing to reposition? I'll take a few short topics because I have not been given so much time. I will address the notes and the key that is part of the keynote. I will post it online for anybody who wants to see. But let us start with food security and livestock production, for which I'm very passionate. Our protein intake is about 10 grams per day. we have a deficit of between 40 to 55 grams per day around the country. We have become the malnutrition capital of the world. We have huge deficits that cause maternal mortality, infant mortality, childhood stunting, and quite a number of other quite embarrassing scenarios, in spite of the fact that we're such a major producer of crude oil. 95% of the milk consumed in Nigeria is imported. 100% of egg powder, which is used in industry, is also imported. Over 40% of the beef cattle that is in this country comes in from our northern neighbors. We are a filter. We take livestock that comes from our northern neighbors, and as a filter we take in through this. So over 40% of that is from our northern neighbors. The smuggling of poultry products, mainly turkey wings and chicken, is still quite rampant. Also quite worrisome is the fact that over 3 million pregnant cows and over 1 million pregnant sheep and goats are slaughtered in, as the national president mentioned, our very deplorable abattoirs. I was going to show some of the pictures of the abattoirs, but changed my mind because it will turn your stomach if you see what is happening in those places. So how do we reposition? The largest producer of eggs in Nigeria is our late Arcn farm, Dr. Abato Fortuna. I need more veterinarians to become large-scale entrepreneurs, to start to lead the various aspects of livestock and other fields of endeavor in this veterinary profession. And it is quite possible. If you hear the stories of those that have been able to move to the top in these areas, you will see that most of them start from zero. Most of them start from very humble backgrounds, and they are able to build these farms. I'm going to say a lot of things here that are directed more towards the younger members of our profession who might be feeling a little discouraged with the scheme of things. Repositioning public health. Human health and zoonosis, the control of zoonotic diseases in animals will prevent infections in humans. As this is really our forte, but we have not taken our rightful position. We must lead as major partners in the prevention and treatment of these diseases, which could cause serious socioeconomic events. And I think we need to, right now, continue to position ourselves at the same level when it comes to disease and public health as our human counterparts. I think it is the only way to go, because most of these diseases of great socio-economic implications actually start from animals, from our constituents. So training and retraining of vets to reposition them as public health specialists to be able to practice anywhere in the world is very important. I know there is quite a bit of an exodus of veterinarians and other professionals from Nigeria. We should not be discouraged by it. Instead, we should find ways to maximize the use of those that have left, and the vacancies that they have created, see it as an opportunity for more and more of the younger people to rise. institutionalizing the federal government veterinary centers in line with federal government medical centers in each local government is very, very important. And any opportunity we get, we need to talk to the Minister of Agriculture to position us in each of the local governments in Nigeria. And the vet laws along ECOWAS protocols, OIE and OIE protocols will, backed by law and enforced by our ministry, will reposition us. Repositioning vet farmer. I know I'm going to get a bit of opposition from this, but I think it is worth considering. I think that we should transfer the Veterinary Medicine and Allied Products Department of NAFDAC to an agency under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. But things have continued to evolve around the world. So we have catching up to do in areas like biotechnology, that is used in the production of drugs, in the production of vaccines, technology in the production of vaccines, genomics, which seems to be the new way to do selection and is really advanced, microchip technology for animal identification instead of the air tags for animal identification and tracking, security, forensic, and health training of dogs. Anybody that passes through a major airport in the world now knows that dogs are the ones that are checking for drugs and contraband. We know the impact in security, we know the impact in forensics, even in bombs and collapsed buildings. All of these have been evolving. Now, we have been at home for 8 months. I think we have a lot of catching up to do. So I want to ask all teachers to make up for lost time as we have resumed now. And we pray that we never see the kind of situation that we have seen ever again. Amen. Repositioning education and research. Education and research must align with the changing needs of industry and public health. A very important point I'd like to make here is that we must reunite academia with industry. We must reunite academia with industry. Most of the successful universities around the world have purses that are richer than some states in this country, and it's all that money comes from outside. I delivered a paper at a certain university, and I said, look, academia must unite with industry. We have a unique problem in this country. We don't like soft chicken. We like our chicken tough. In most other parts of the world, they like their chicken soft. So I put it to the university and said, look, I will provide a grant to any faculty that decides to do work on actually using herbs or natural ingredients of any sort to make soft chicken tough, either during the feeding of the chicken or during the cooking of the chicken. This is just an example of how academia and industry can work together and provide a win-win situation for everybody. Entrepreneurial education is another point that I believe needs to be included in the veterinary curriculum to allow vets learn about business. This is very important because most veterinarians at one time or the other will need to raise an invoice. But I do not know how many of us as veterinarians graduating in DVM 5 knew what an invoice was. And I think that it's important that we somehow find a way to bring the curriculum to allow veterinarians learn about business for those that are interested in pursuing that line. This will equip us better to attract funding required to pursue our big dreams in whatever sphere of the profession we decide to pursue. As I conclude, I would like to talk about repositioning the vet profession in its rightful place in our relationships with other professions. Pharma, animal health, animal sciences, and so on. The constant jostling for space with professionals in these other professions is unnecessary and quite uncalled for. We must, as members of this noble profession, continue to mobilize financial and human resources to clearly define our role and continue to hold our ground and take our stand.
Goodwill messages were received from prominent individuals and groups who all expressed unending support, saying their doors are open for veterinary professionals.
I can see that this is a very vibrant association of veterinary doctors. And I want to bring you promises from Baba Olubadan that he is ready to support any of your programs that concerns Ibadan land. And even further to that, all his council members that will represent him in all the 11 local governments in Ibadan are also willing and ready to support your programs.
The role of the veterinary profession cannot be overemphasized. Over the years, veterinary professionals have played significant roles and contributory roles in animal health and human health and welfare, biomedical research, food quality, food safety, and food security. I am aware that our veterinary professionals have played and are still playing crucial roles in the prevention and management of serious and devastating livestock diseases, including African swine fever and even influenza and the rest of them, that have negatively impacted the swine and poultry industries respectively, resulting in serious economic losses. Recently, I had a fruitful meeting with the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria, Dr. Abiba Mimuna Abdullah, and it was discovered that a lot is yet to be done, especially in the area that requires specific veterinary approaches through regularization of the importation of livestock and livestock products into the country, particularly from purchasing companies and countries. There is also a need to track and report consistently certain emerging and prevailing livestock diseases that may have serious public health significance and economic losses for livestock farmers. If Nigeria as a company would intensify economic through agriculture, of which livestock is an integral and important part, the veterinary profession must take the lead. There is a direct correlation between quality of livestock production and quality of veterinary services. The genetic potential of any animal species can only be exhibited when the animal is alive and healthy. An efficient and productive livestock sector holds the potential to take this country out of economic woes, recognizing that healthy and productive livestock industry makes an important contribution to food production, income generation, job creation, economic growth, and poverty alleviation.
I'm so glad to welcome you back to Oyo State. After 19 years, we last hosted the Congress. It is my hope and expectation that you will enjoy this Congress. Please do explore the beauty of our campus, the ambience of Ibadan City, the capital city of Oyo State, a city that is located on 7 hills. I do hope to meet some of us at the cocktail later this evening. Have a wonderful time in our city. And please do not leave until you have had amala and habula, which is a delight in our city.
The NVMA, which is an umbrella body of all registered veterinarians practicing in Nigeria, since inception has been conducting annual congresses and conferences for its members across the country, specifically to deliberate on issues concerning the veterinary profession, promoting professionalism in veterinary practice, as well as creating awareness on critical and important issues on veterinary medicine and public health. The consistency, growth, influence, and wider acceptability of this noble profession is worthy of commendation. And the associated strides and focus of this professional body as a complement to other veterinary-related establishments is well appreciated. At the Federal Department of Veterinary and Pest Control Services, in the Ministry of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, I must say that we enjoy a good working relationship with the professional body in supporting causes that guarantee the welfare, rights, privileges, and conducive environment for the practice of our members. Having recognized the larger population of our members are in the private sector, the ministry, through the department, is driving activities, processes, and projects aimed at supporting them and creating an enabling environment to thrive. One of such strides is the Sanitary Management Program, which is a private-public partnership arrangement to engage private veterinarians to take veterinary practice to the rural communities.
The Honorable Minister participated in one of the discussions conducted geared towards creation of awareness and advocacy.
The Honorable Minister has been a mover and shaker within his domain, a gentleman to the core, somebody that has the love of the profession. You recall that our Honorable Minister was actually in the Federal Ministry of Environment. Even at that level, he had a very close relationship with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. I remember very vividly, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he was one of the trusted Nigerians that was given the responsibility to manage the outbreak. And glory be to God, that responsibility, under the distinguished chairmanship of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, has succeeded in curtailing the spread of this pandemic. While he was there, he was working together with the Honorable Minister of Agriculture then to control the farmer-herders clash. And I know that you will believe me that this is a gentleman that believes very strongly in inter-ministerial relationship. When he moved to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, you had what the Director of Veterinary Services of Nigeria read yesterday. Within his heart, he has the young. And the young, he will always live to protect. For this meeting, Honorable Minister, sir, we have scheduled it as a pally. A pally because, number one, we want our veterinarians to know what you are doing. Secondly, we want our veterinarians to know what you have in stock for us. And that's the more reason why, rather than the conventional reading of address, you accepted wholeheartedly to listen to one or two questions.
In the population of livestock in Nigeria, the Federal Department of
Veterinary and Pest Control Services of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development seems to be overstretched to provide policy directions on animal health and veterinary services in Nigeria. Therefore, sir, we would like to suggest that the Honorable Minister should initiate the process for the creation of a Federal Ministry of Animal Health and Fisheries Development to ensure efficiency in service delivery for improved livestock production and productivity. This is already obtainable in some states in the Federation, like Sokoto State, Kebbi State, and Adamawa State.
Definitely, it will be apt to do that, because again, that will empower the sector, the veterinary and livestock. Currently, of course, we all know the economic situation globally and also here in Nigeria. The creation of institutes or institutions, especially a ministry, is something that will take quite a bit of money. So at this point, it may not be ideal, considering our economic situation, to start, let me say, creating a new ministry. However, what we can do is ask for the sector to be strengthened, like we have done, and you will find out later, perhaps during this discussion, what the ministry has been doing, and equally trying to get additional funding through intervention that is over and above the budgetary provision to provide additional equipment and services to the sector. However, like I said, in the future, perhaps when things get better, it will be an idea that we should look over and see. I know in other countries, of course, I've gone around the world, yes, they have different ministries for this.
My question is what is the Federal Ministry of Agric and Rural Development doing on the issues of diagnostic laboratories and or veterinary centers in each of the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, since the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, cannot cater for all the samples and requests on sample analysis?
The NVRI might be overloaded, yes, just by itself, and we're aware of that. So one of the first things we are doing is to get as much additional funding to NVRI as possible. But beyond that, also is for us to try and create more centers. And in that respect, the ministry has developed and supported 11 veterinary teaching hospitals in ABU, University of Ibadan, in Suka, Damfodio, University of Makurdi, Abeokuta, Uni Abuja, Uni Jos, Unimed, and several others in order to improve and to provide additional support for intending internship student. So we are doing all of that. Also, the ministry has constructed and equipped 2 veterinary medical centers in Kano and Yobe, and this is all again to increase the number of facilities for the veterinary medical profession. In addition, also, we have constructed and equipped 29 primary animal health care centers in Kaduna, in Kogi, Nasarawa, Zamfara, Ogun, Oshun, Kebbi, and has a host of others. So about 29 of those. Once again, also, the ministry is working with stakeholders and also with supporting partners. Ziotis and Bill and Melinda Foundation also have equipped 5 number laboratories across 5 states of Oyo, Plateau, Kaduna, FCT, and 1 other. So we are really doing whatever we can, considering that NVRI is overloaded, so we can provide additional laboratories and medical centers for the vets. Indeed, we need to have the federal medical centers, and in that respect, the ministry is planning to construct federal veterinary medical center in each of the geopolitical zones. And this is to provide for tertiary veterinary services an opportunity to be linked up with the veterinary surgeon college, and at the same time also to link them up with VOM. You know, VOM is our center, but we also want to make sure we create a lot more that can support VOM. And indeed, what we want to have is something equivalent to VOM, more than just one, because the more you have, the better, especially in any medical profession. And veterinary medical profession is no different, because as we have seen, they work and contribute to also the human medical profession. Because especially zoonotic diseases, unless the vets are able to decipher and keep away the pathogens from the animals to humans, then we'll be having more issues in our hands. So the ministry is working towards that, to strengthen VOM and to also construct these additional medical centers that will be linked to the surgeon college and also to VOM.
Considering the role of the College of Veterinary Surgeons of Nigeria as a way of ensuring specialization in the veterinary profession, as we all know, our profession, we have different fields, avian medicine, large animal, small animal. We have a lot of field. So what is the ministry going to do to link the College of Veterinary Surgeons of Nigeria to the existing veterinary teaching hospital and Federal Veterinary Medical Center for internship to better output in the practice? Sir, our profession is entrepreneurial in nature. And the truth of the matter is that a higher percentage of our graduates will most likely end up being a private practitioner, like myself. I know what it takes to come out of the university and how to struggle on your own, trying to gain the experience, trying to start up. Now, we all know that the economy, the economy of the nation as a whole is from the micro, the small businesses, small businesses. All right. Now, the whole idea of why we are asking for this internship and that they should be paid, not just going for the specialty, so that they should be paid. That during the internship, they both get the knowledge, the skill, the expertise, the experience they need to stand out. And not only that, they have some kind of startup capital to start their businesses, whatever thing they want to go into based on what they learn. Now, it's going to be a win-win thing for the country, for the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the veterinary profession, because we're going to have people who are skilled, and not only that, we're going to have, the issue of unemployment radically reduced when these young people are empowered, and because it's going to grow the economy. And apart from that, it's going to help the Federal Republic of Nigeria to collect some data. Now, we have a lot of private vets who are just practicing on their own. No data, no, reports. No, when we have these people, when we have this kind of internship where they are trained and they know what to do and they can report, it will really help the profession. So my question is very simple. How will you link it up so that the internship program will be a reality for our profession?
The allowances to the internship student, well, that's something I think that will also be carried over to to Abuja. We'll discuss and see what we can. Well, the good thing is we are getting some intervention, really. Let me thank Mr. President because we are getting intervention that is allowing us to do some of this activities and upgrade of some of the institutions or even constructing new ones.
Honorable Minister, it is my honor to inform you that some of the few states, especially my neighbor state, Gombe, have very, very few number of veterinarians. I think they have less than 10. Plateau State have less than 10 also. We have a state like Port Harcourt that has 2 veterinary doctors, and there are so many other states in this country that has these few numbers. Please and please, we are begging you, as you have been helping this profession, do something for us and for the younger ones to have this job and contribute to the national economic development.
Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development actually realizing the skill gaps in that respect which we have just talked about. The ministry was able to recruit about over 100 actually veterinarians to be deployed in the state where we identify skill gap, and this is through a program that is called Disease Surveillance System Enhancement, and it's a project that is being supported by the World Bank along with the ministry. Now, the thing is, agriculture is really on the concurrent list of the legislature, which means federal government can make laws, state government can make laws. Well, provision of vet to fill up the gap by the federal government is a temporary measure. The best thing is for the state to take it serious enough and recruit, train, and deploy veterinary professionals. And this is something that the federal government will work with the state to do that. However, we will continue to recruit, train, and deploy, but the state will really have to come in and do this. And I think that's the best way to go.
For those of us in the industry, poultry industry, we have suffered devastating losses from this disease. And it has become clear that it is a recurring decimal, and avian influenza is likely to come on an annualized basis. We would like your Honorable Minister, sir, to consider the lifting of the ban on the importation of avian influenza vaccine. I know that in previous years we used to compensate farmers. Right now we understand that that is quite difficult to achieve considering the numbers involved. We would like you to look at this very critically as we approach another season. My second question, Honorable Minister, sir, has to do with the abattoirs. The abattoirs in this country are in such a deplorable state that most of us, most people would not eat meat if they witnessed what goes on there. Honorable Minister, what is the Minister of Agriculture doing to change the face of our abattoirs across the length and breadth of this country?
The first question, this is really something that we cannot just say, okay, we will unban or we'll keep the ban. What I will do professionally, scientifically, I will have the chief veterinarian to put together a small committee that will look at the pros and cons of banning or unbanning, so that we do not do something again injurious to our own industry. So with this, I assure you, I will direct the chief veterinarian to take a look at that rather quickly and see what we can do. The state of our abattoirs, you are right, quite a few of them are in deplorable condition, but maybe unknown to some of you, the ministry, again, through some intervention from the president, we have rehabilitated about 19 of those abattoirs and slaughterhouses across the country, and we are still continuing. Again, we are also planning on procuring refrigerated trucks for the conveyance of meat across the country, again, to remove the incidences of losses due to spoilage of product. So we are doing all this through some of the interventions we are receiving, again, from the government over and above our budgetary provision.
The parley continued with veteran veterinarians who shared ideas of then, now, and the future of the profession.
Maybe on an individual basis you are being what you are, but it hasn't reflected on the veterinary profession. And that's because we have not been working together as an association. And it's good to excel wherever you are. And I'll talk a little bit about being excel in an environment that we are. But it goes beyond that. The association must come together. All of the bickerings amongst us must stop. Each veterinarian that does something good, either in his personal capacity, is doing it for the profession. And we should all embrace such a person and support such a person. And I think that's the message I think we need to pass to each of us. We, each of us, are doing whatever it is we're doing, but what made you what you are is your veterinary profession. I am what I am today because the veterinary profession prepared me to be anything I wanted to be. Some of the people in other professions don't like what I'm saying, but I keep saying it. You see, the point I'm saying is that this profession has prepared you to be anything that you ever want to be. But when you have done that, you must give back to the profession, which laid that foundation for you. A lot of us have taken this personal thing and got the aggrandizement, and that's the end of it. But we have not put it back into our profession. I think we need to have that change of opportunity. Personally, talking for me, getting into, for example, right here, I'm the only one wearing mask. And people are wondering. But you see, one of the things I learned in the veterinary profession is that be yourself. Don't be overruled by public opinion. I have to protect myself. So also we must protect our profession.
Also notice that it's about you. It's not about us. Just like the prof said. And I've seen a lot of us who have excelled individually, sir, everywhere. But even the profession does not recognize our individual excellence. For me, it may be a personal thing that I'm talking about, but I'm using it to project the situation as it sits now. I remember when I was elected the president of the Commonwealth Veterinary Association a little over 2.5 years ago. Colleagues were saying, why, how, when? You understand? And before that time, I was on the executive board of the CBA for 12 years before I became the president of the CBA. Even when I became the president of the CBA, I'm sorry I'm using my personal example to project the discussion. Even when I became the CBA president, the profession did not introduce me to anybody. I don't think, here I am being invited by the Queen, God bless her soul, about 3 times to the Buckingham Palace. But my profession does not even celebrate me, even here. So when you look at it in terms of how we have come along, a lot of us have excelled. Dr. Naro is seated there. He was on the executive board of the WVA. I'm still on the executive, I'm still sitting on the executive board of the WVA too. But do we know all these things? Do we project ourselves? We don't project ourselves. So one way or the other, Prof was saying, okay, you could have excelled individually, but what about the profession itself? Sir, it is also important that those who have excelled individually are celebrated, so that the younger ones coming behind us will know that amongst us here, we have people who are global leaders.
Please, elders, remember that I think for the past 20 years, we have been battling with one tanker worm. Competitiveness. Is it competitiveness or competition, sorry, between us and so many other organizations. Today is 20 years we have been in court with the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. Today we keep on complaining. Animal science want to encroach into our responsibilities and all these things. At a certain point in time, even the people that respect us, those in animal health and production technology, they now started going to promulgate their own laws. I don't want to talk to you about what is happening there, because by the special grace of God, we are in control, courtesy of the Chief Veterinary Officer. When we found out that even the medical laboratory technologies stood up now and insisted that anytime we are going on accreditation, we must bring them. In fact, they want to accredit faculties of veterinary medicine. I was the president of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association when that took place. We were all looking at them because we don't have a law that will protect us at that level. And up to today, we don't have the law. And yet, if we had not resisted, they will do it. And if they want to do it, nothing is going to stop them. Why? Because if you go through the scheme of service of the Federation, the scheme of service of the Federation made provision for veterinary technologies, sir. But the qualification to get you into the area of veterinary technology is when you read medical laboratory technology. So if that is the case, they have a right, because it's their products that are running our own laboratories. And those of you in the university, you know this story. Now, looking at our environment, what we did, sir, was say, fine. If it is a course, it's a course. And so on the advice, we now went to MBTE and told MBTE, please, we don't want these people to run our laboratories because they are sidelining our people. At a certain point in time, we had veterinarians running laboratories, they say no. And that was the genesis of establishing a course called the Veterinary Laboratory Technologies that is also being accredited by the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. And I take pride because I had to insist that that program was run. Today, from its running it, and by the special grace of God, Federal College of Animal Health in Ibadan are also running the Veterinary Laboratory Technology up to HND level. And we had to do it to say, okay, let this one be specialized in pathology, this one in anesthesiology, this one in this area. We are trying to do that because we have to look at the laws of this country and begin to pitch our tent where we have and build specialties that will be loyal to us. If you have a veterinary laboratory technologies accredited by the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, running our anatomy laboratory in the university, running our microbiology, our own biochemistry, and all the rest, nobody is going to harass them. Just like we did in Usman-Danfodio University, we decided there must be a department of veterinary biochemistry that is run by veterinarians. Why am I saying that? Honestly, we are closing our eyes, just like Prof has said, to areas that we need to take control. Every profession is building territories around itself, and it is the only profession that allows people to pilfer into them is our own. Only to go to National Assembly to stand up and say, we will not agree, we will not agree. National Assembly procedures do not respect, we will not agree. They respect what you have on ground. How does it clash with your own profession? How does it clash with your own law? Now, to talk about adopted villages. In the wisdom of the Agricultural Council of Nigeria, we insisted that since our products are not being off-taken by the private sector, because the private sector complained that we are not doing researches that is going to enhance, their own business. We now came back to say, well, we know that our products are good. So if that is the case, why don't we venture into the business environment? So we did one thing. We established the adopted villages. We also established adopted schools. The intention there is that either from the College of Agriculture or from the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, we should go to the nooks and crannies of all these communities and make sure that we have personnel that will be teaching them. Sir, all these adopted villages are being commandeered strictly by those in the crop sector. So our livestock producers in the rural areas are not benefiting from our adopted villages and our adopted schools. The only place they have is when we go there with poultry, day-old chicks, and distribute to them. But there are other areas that the adopted villages can actually benefit from. But because it's a government thing, the profitability of that venture is not good. So we went to the National Assembly and we proposed the amendment of our act and put in our act the need for us to have spin-off companies. These spin-off companies are independent but integral part of the various research institutes and colleges. So all our colleges now have what we call spin-off companies in order to promote their products. But the law says we can only do that in collaboration with the private sector so that the sustainability of that program will be there. So if you go to any of our federal colleges of agriculture, of our research institute, you will now be able to partner with our spin-off company that has been established.
Guests were later thrilled by the cultural troupe, while awards were presented to some individuals who have impacted in veterinary medicine practice.
Congratulations, sir. It is indeed a privilege to present this to you at the 58th Annual Congress of Oyo 2022. Dedicated Service Award to Dr. Stephen Olufemi Adeyemi in recognition and appreciation of your ongoing commitment and dedicated service. This day, 25th October 2022. Congratulations.
I'm presenting this award on behalf of the NVMA national body at our 58th annual congress here in Ibadan, in recognition and appreciation of your contribution to the veterinary profession and public health protection. Thank you.
This award is presented to you, sir, in recognition and appreciation of your ongoing commitment and dedication to the veterinary profession in Nigeria. Congratulations, sir.
An inspection was then undertaken to some exhibited items and farm products. And that's our special report on the 58th Annual Congress of the Veterinary Medical Association of Nigeria, Oyo 2022. Thank you for watching. I remain Hilda Homsen Fantwam. Take care.